The signal from the edge. The stars over planet Vetra shone cold and silent, but inside the High Council Hall, panic burned like fire. The Vetran people were proud, peaceful, and advanced. For thousands of years, they ruled 3 star systems. They had no enemies, until now. An unknown enemy had arrived from the dark side of space. Their ships were black, fast, and full of rage. The Vetrans' defense lines fell one after another. Cities were lost, planets burned, millions screamed. The Council's leaders stood frozen, staring at a massive screen. On it, the enemy fleet moved like a swarm, tearing through another Vetran colony. "We cannot stop them," said Elder Kale, voice shaking. "They are not here to conquer. They are here to destroy." A younger official, Lena, looked around the room. "We must send a call. There is only one place left to turn." The Council murmured nervously. All knew the name. All feared it. "Earth," she said. The room went silent. Everyone had heard the stories. Earth, home of the Deathworlders, a planet so violent that its creatures had to fight daily just to survive. A place where storms could rip mountains apart and beasts could crush armored tanks. And its people, they were worse. Humans had once joined the Galactic Union, but only for a short time. Their strength, their anger, and their strange way of thinking made others uneasy. After a few years, the humans left, quietly, politely, but everyone knew they were better off alone. "They won't answer," said Elder Raal. "And if they do, what will they bring with them?" Lena stood firm. "If we do nothing, we die. If we call Earth, we might live. Let us risk it." After a short vote, the Council agreed. The signal was sent, a short message filled with desperation. "To Earth, we need help. We are under attack. Innocents are dying. We beg you, help us." Then they waited. Hours passed, then days. One colony after another vanished from the map. No reply came from Earth. The Council began to lose hope. But then, just before midnight on the 6th day, the stars near Vetra Prime blinked. One by one, objects dropped out of faster than light. Space. First 1, then 3, then 20. Each ship was massive, shaped like a blade and darker than space itself. They had no flags, no colors, no signals. A single word came through their comms. "Received." The Council gathered once more. Scanners tried to read the ships. The data made no sense. Energy levels off the charts, hull materials unknown, weapons far beyond anything in Vetran history. Suddenly, the sky above Vetra Prime lit up. A wormhole opened far away near the edge of the system. The enemy had arrived again. But this time, Earth was watching. One of the black ships moved. It accelerated, so fast that the sensors glitched. In a second, it reached the enemy's lead cruiser. Then, silence. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a white light, blinding and sharp, flashed in the distance. The enemy ship was gone. Not destroyed, erased, turned into dust, scattered across space. More human ships moved. They didn't speak, they didn't warn, they simply hunted. One by one, the enemy vessels fell. Vetra's people watched in silence. On the main screen, a human message appeared once more. "Earth answers." They begged Earth for aid, but Deathworlders answered with Annihilation Part 2 of 7. The hunters in the void. The enemy fleet, once fearless, now ran. Vetran scanners picked up strange signals. The unknown ships, the enemy, were trying to escape. They had never lost a battle before. But now something had changed. They weren't facing peaceful diplomats. They weren't facing councils or trade fleets. They were facing Earth. The human ships didn't follow normal patterns. They moved like wolves, fast, sharp, silent. One ship would disappear, then reappear behind the enemy. In seconds, a destroyer exploded into fire. Another ship split into 2 before its crew could scream. There was no mercy, no warning. The Council watched in awe and horror. "Are they enjoying this?" one member asked quietly. Lena didn't answer. Her eyes stayed on the screen. Down on the surface of Vetra Prime, the people watched too. Children stopped crying. Old ones whispered ancient prayers. Some wept, not from fear but from relief. For the first time in weeks, the skies were not filled with death. They were filled with protectors, even if those protectors were monsters. One human ship broke off from the main group. It flew close to the Vetran capital. A signal came through, calm, clear, and strong. This is Hammerfall 1, Tactical Command. Earth acknowledges your distress call. Hostile fleet will be eliminated. Remain silent. Remain out of our way. That was all. No soft words. No welcome. Just orders. Lena turned to Elder Kyle. Do we respond? He shook his head. They didn't ask. In the outer system, a final enemy cruiser tried to escape. It turned its engines to full power and blasted toward a nearby moon. Maybe they thought they could hide. Maybe they hoped to call for help. Hammerfall 1 moved. The human ship rotated its massive cannon and fired something strange, like a beam but thicker. Not just energy, not just heat, it was something else. The enemy ship vanished, not exploded, not destroyed. Vanished. Where did it go? Asked one veteran officer, confused. A human voice replied coldly. We don't leave debris. Back in orbit, the Black Fleet gathered again. Every enemy ship was gone. The sky was quiet. The humans sent one last message. Threat neutralized. Mission complete. But they didn't leave, they just stayed. The council grew nervous. Why are they still here? Asked Elder Rael. Maybe they're watching for more attackers, Lena offered. Or maybe, Kale said darkly, they don't want to leave. On the human flagship deep inside the command center, a man in dark armor looked over a holomap. His eyes were cold, his voice calm. Scan the veteran systems. Check for weakness. Another officer nodded. Why? Because, one the man said. Next time they may not just call for help. They may become a target. The officer hesitated. Are we here to help them, sir, or to remind them? The man smiled faintly. Both. The skies were calm, but the ground shook with questions. The people of Vetra had been saved, but now they lived under the shadow of their saviors. Earth's ships floated above the planet like silent watchers. No more enemy fleets came, no more attacks. But the humans didn't leave. No explanation, no schedule, no goodbye. The council gathered again. Tension filled the chamber. We must thank them, said Elder Kale. They saved us from destruction. We already thanked them, Lena replied. They didn't answer. Elder Rahl leaned forward. They're not here for thanks. They stayed because they want something. What do they want? No one had an answer. Then a message arrived. It was short, direct. Prepare a list of your technology, energy output, and planetary defenses. Deliver it within 1 solar cycle. The room went silent. Kale spoke first. That sounds like a demand. Lena read the message again. It is a demand. But we called them, Rahl whispered. They didn't offer help. We asked. We begged. Now we owe them, Kale finished. A shuttle from Earth landed 2 hours later. It was not elegant, not polished, just dark steel and heavy armor. When its doors opened, 2 humans stepped out. They wore black suits, not military uniforms. No greetings, no smiles. They met with the council in the main hall. One of them, a tall woman with sharp eyes, placed a small device on the table. It projected a map of Vetra Prime. Our scanners detected 6 underground vaults, 2 fusion cores, and 7 defense arrays. You didn't include those in your report, she said calmly. Lena blinked. You scanned our entire planet? Yes. We didn't agree to that. You did when you sent a signal to Earth. Kale tried to stay calm. We are grateful, truly, but we are not under your rule. The man beside her stepped forward. You are not. But your survival was bought with human fire. That cost must be honored. What do you want? Lena asked, though she already feared the answer. The woman's voice was quiet but sharp as a blade. Access, resources, trust, and silence. Back in orbit, more human ships arrived. Not warships, transports. Machines began to drop from orbit. Not weapons, tools, heavy equipment, mining drills, satellite towers. The humans were building something. Lena stood on a balcony and watched a black tower rise just beyond the city limits. What are they doing? She asked in aid. Some say it's a base, others say it's a beacon, or a warning, she muttered. That night, a message echoed across the stars. It came from the human flagship, and it was not just for Vetra, it was for everyone. Earth responds to threats against life. Earth punishes those who bring war to peace. Let this system be a lesson. You may beg. But understand, when we come, we don't just protect. We stay. The galaxy heard, and for the first time in centuries, it feared again. Weeks passed. The humans were still there. Their black towers grew taller. Their machines drilled deeper. Their ships patrolled the sky like silent hawks. No Vetran was allowed near the landing zones. Every approach was met with a warning. Not cross the perimeter. No one dared challenge it, but questions grew among the people. Are they here to protect us, or to own us? The council remained silent, not out of loyalty, but fear. They had asked for help. They had gotten it. But now the price was higher than they expected. Lena watched the human camp from a distance. She saw the patterns, the way supplies moved, how machines worked, where the guards stood. It was all precise, cold, efficient. Nothing wasted. Nothing shared. She met with Kale in secret. We gave them no power, she said quietly. Kale nodded. And yet they took it. We cannot allow this to become permanent. They saved us, Lena. And now they rule us in silence. Meanwhile, in orbit, a private meeting took place aboard the human flagship. The same commander who had destroyed the enemy fleet now studied new star maps. One of his officers reported, Vetra's moons hold rare metals. The planet's crust is rich with helium-3. Their defenses are weak. Their people, broken. We could take full control in under 2 cycles. The commander nodded. Do it quietly. No fire, no fear, just presence. He looked at a glowing image of Vetra Prime. Make them dependent. Make them obedient. But not all humans agreed. One junior officer, Alex, watched the Vetran city lights from his station and frowned. They asked for help, he said to himself. Not occupation. He opened a hidden comm channel. He typed a short message to an unknown receiver. They're not saving this world. They're claiming it. Someone needs to stop them. He hit send. And somewhere in deep space that signal was caught. By someone watching Earth just as closely as Earth watched others. Back on Vetra, whispers spread among the people. Some began to resist, quietly, sabotaged cables, blinded drones, vanished. Supply crates the humans noticed and responded with silence at first, then with drones, then with soldiers. They didn't shoot. They didn't arrest, but they appeared. On street corners, outside homes, watching, always watching. Lena knew what was coming. This is no longer help, she told the council. This is control. But Kale looked tired. Then what do we do? Lena's eyes hardened. We do what our ancestors did when the first conquerors came. Kyle blinked. You want war? With them? Lena didn't answer. She just stared at the human towers rising over her world, their shadows long and cold. Night over Vetra Prime had changed. It used to be quiet, filled with soft lights from the cities and stars above. Now the dark was broken by searchlights, drones, and the low hum of human patrol ships. The humans had brought peace, but not freedom, and the people felt it. In small corners, deep below the streets, Quiet meetings began. Old leaders, brave youth, former soldiers, engineers, all united by a single word whispered in fear, then spoken in anger. Resist. Lena led them. She didn't wear robes anymore. She wore a dark coat and kept her hair tied back. She no longer asked questions. She gave orders. We can't attack them head on, she said, but we can remind them that this is our world. They struck small. A mining tower's power was cut. A patrol drone crashed. A shipment of supplies vanished. No deaths. Not yet. But the humans noticed. On the flagship, alarms blinked red. Commander Voss read the reports with growing irritation. Sabotage, he muttered. His second-in-command frowned. We've done everything by the book. Voss stood. By our book, not theirs. We should have ruled from orbit. He gave a sharp order. Increase patrols. Restrict movement in all cities. No gatherings, no meetings, no symbols, no more mistakes. Across Vetra, the new rules came quickly. Checkpoints, curfews, scans. People disappeared. Not killed. Not seen again. The fear returned, but now it wore a human face. Some Vetrans broke. They gave names, told stories, pointed fingers. Others stayed silent. Lena knew it wouldn't be long before they came for her. But before they could, she made the next move. At dawn, a massive power station near the human base exploded. It wasn't sabotage. It was a message. One that lit the sky and shook the towers above. A coded message went out moments after. We are still here. We remember who we are. Vetra is not yours. On Earth, the message was received. The High Command watched it play out on screens. Some were angry, others amused. One old general leaned back and said, "They're starting to act like us." Another asked, "Should we pull out?" A voice from the shadows answered, "No, they need to understand what it costs to ask for human help." The next day, Vetran skies darkened. New human warships arrived. Bigger, heavier, built not to protect but to punish. The peace was over. The occupation had truly begun, and the people of Vetra finally saw what it meant to beg Earth for aid, and to live under the hand of Deathworlders. The new ships hovered like dark giants above Vetra Prime. Their size alone brought silence. Their shadow turned day into dusk. On the surface, the streets emptied. Shops closed. Children whispered. Adults kept their eyes low. Everyone knew. Something had changed. This was no longer peace. This was control through fear. The resistance had expected this. But they had not expected what came next. At midnight, all power in the city of Toril went. Dark, no lights, no heat, no signals. Then came the voice. Not loud, not cruel, but cold. You wanted freedom. You wanted fire. Now live without us. For 3 days, Toril froze. Hospitals stopped. Water pumps failed. Food spoiled. And the skies above stayed quiet. No drops. No aid. Nothing. The message was clear. Without Earth, there was no survival. Lena stood in the dark with her team. No one spoke. She looked at the faces around her. Young, old, tired, angry. She stepped outside, where the sky was filled with the faint red glow of a human ship watching them like a god. "They're bleeding us." "Without firing a shot," she said. A boy beside her asked, "Then what do we do?" She looked back and answered, "We show them that not all things can be controlled." They planned carefully. The humans used satellites to watch everything, so the resistance moved underground. They used old tunnels, lost data paths, and nature. Itself, animals, smoke, even shadows. One by one they attacked the power cores feeding the towers, not to destroy them, but to send a message. You need us too. Meanwhile, aboard Earth's command ship, Commander Voss grew restless. These people should be on their knees, he barked. His aide shook her head. They're not breaking. They're adapting. He slammed his fist on the table. Then, we break them harder. Another officer looked up. Sir, reports show Earth's population is growing uneasy. Public feed lines are questioning the purpose of this operation. Voss paused. He stared out the window at Vetra below. They begged us to come. They called for help. If we back off now, the galaxy sees us as weak. The aide spoke softly. Or maybe they see the truth. In secret, another message was sent. Not by the resistance, but by someone on the human side. Mission failure, hearts lost, no loyalty remains. Recommend withdrawal before escalation. It traveled deep into Earth's military net. But no reply came. Only silence. Lena met her team at the edge of the southern ridge. In her hand, she held a small device, a jammer built from human parts and veteran tech. This shuts down one of their satellites, she said. It won't stop the war, but it'll remind them we can reach them too. She pressed the button. In orbit, a human satellite blinked and died. Far above in the cold black sky, Earth's commanders watched as a small corner of their vision went dark. They stared at the blank screen, and they finally understood. These people would never surrender. Not with force. Not with fear. Not even with fire. The blackout of Earth's satellite was the turning point. Not a weapon, not a fleet, just a signal. A signal that said, "We are not afraid anymore." On Vetra Prime, people came out of hiding. They stood in the streets. No weapons, no banners, just standing side by side in silence. It started in one city, then another, then all across the planet. Millions stood under the shadow of human towers and did nothing. Not violence, not resistance, just unity. Commander Voss watched from the command deck, lips tight. "What is this?" he asked. An officer replied, "They're not rebelling, they're showing us they're done kneeling." He stared harder at the screen. "This is disrespect." Another voice, an older one, spoke behind him. "No," said General Milan, a veteran flown in from Earth after rising doubts. "This is what happens when you mistake force for respect." Voss turned. "We saved them." Milan shook his head. "We used them. We answered a cry for help with a hammer." On Earth, protests broke out. Footage of Vetra's occupation leaked. Images of crying children, quiet arrests, dark towers. The people who once cheered for Earth the Protector now questioned the cost. One phrase began to spread across Earth's networks. "We became the threat we said we'd destroy." The high command gathered. It wasn't a war room this time, it was a court. Voices argued across the table. Some wanted to stay, others begged to leave. At last, one woman stood. Old, wise, and worn. "They begged us to help," she said, "and we came like gods, but left like tyrants. If we want peace, we must first give it." Silence followed. Then a vote, and a decision. 3 days later, the skies above Vetra changed again. This time, not with fire, but with departure. Human ships began to leave, one by one. Silently, the towers shut down. The patrols ended. Earth was gone. The people of Vetra didn't cheer. They didn't dance. They simply watched. Because they knew something now. Help from Deathworlders was not free, but neither was their spirit. They had paid in silence, and won with unity. Lena stood on the same balcony where she had once watched the ships arrive. Now the sky was clear. The stars returned. She looked up and whispered, "We remember what you did. We also remember what we became." Behind her, people rebuilt. No flags. No statues, just peace. Real peace. Not given, not enforced. Earned. In the deep black of space, Earth's fleet drifted home, silent, thinking and watching. Because somewhere, someday, another call would come, and Earth would have to choose again.